We get new details today as the NTSB has released a preliminary report on a deadly crash at Scottsdale Airport involving the plane of a member of the rock group Motley Crue.
The report revealing this wasn't the first time this private plane had trouble with its landing gear.
12 News journalist Sean Rice in studio to break down what that report says. I know it's just preliminary, Sean, so what do we have?
Yeah, Chairman Troy, we expected this report month out from the crash. We got it today, just over 2 weeks after this happened. Now, airport officials told us the night this crash happened, it was February 10th, that a landing gear failure, a malfunction, was to blame. But now the NTSB has just released these pictures to us in an 8-page preliminary report. Now, today they showed that the left landing gear is not in the correct position. Right here is where it should be, about a 90-degree angle facing straight down. But on the day of the crash, you can see it is much further back, again, not in the right position because of that mechanical failure. Now, the report says the NTSB collected a lot of video and pictures of the plane crash that day. That includes video from a nearby business. This video showing the Learjet private plane attempt to land and immediately depart the runway, veering to the left and eventually coming to a stop after crashing into another jet at the airport. Now the NTSB has released these photos to us showing what the left landing gear should look like and what it did on that fateful February day. Investigators zeroed in on what's called the aft trunnion pin, and right here, the massive amounts of grease that line the parts of that landing gear. Aviation experts tell me that amount of grease in the area of that landing gear is highly unusual and is likely the result of that pin not properly lining up to a bracket on that landing gear. Now, the NTSB also revealed to us that this same plane had what they call a, quote, hard landing last summer at an airport out in Oklahoma, where 2 tires burst on that landing gear. It went in for service in December, and the mechanic told investigators he followed all manuals when conducting those repairs. Now, Embry-Riddle professor Cary Grant tells me their report is not blaming the mechanic for that crash. It's simply explaining that it isn't their job.
The whole role of the NTSB is to find out the cause of the accident, list the cause, and they will suggest corrective actions. And then that's their only role, is to prevent similar accidents from happening in the future. So they do not assign any type of blame or go down that path. That's not their role.
Now, Grant also tells me this kind of landing gear malfunction is not common. In fact, the NTSB pointed out in their report that there have only been 3 other instances in the history of Learjet aircrafts where a landing gear disconnected from the airframe because of an issue with that trunnion pin. Now, the pilot, 78-year-old Joey Vitoski, was killed in this crash. The report says there were 0 radio calls to air traffic controllers from the cockpit that day that may have indicated he was at all aware that the landing gear had even malfunctioned. Now, investigators are still looking into what, if anything, Vitoski could have done to prevent this crash from happening. Troy.
Yeah, and you would think that there would be some sort of an indicator light or something. I mean, that landing gear clearly is back where it shouldn't be.
Yeah. The report does note at the end of it that there are buttons just to the right of where the pilot and the captain sits in the cockpit. 3 green lights and 3 red lights. Today, Cary Grant also told me there would have been some sort of alert audibly that the pilot may have been able to hear if something was wrong, but there's no indication that anything like that ever even happened. So who knows if the pilot even knew, which makes it all the more sad.
Yeah, it really is. I know, so many warning signs before that. All right, thank you so much, Sean.
Those pictures really kind of spell it out, though, don't they? All right, it's new information this